we wanted to do another little video fresh because we've just been to the official launch of the print book of Senior Stories Volume 8.
At Parliament House.
At Parliament House. So we turned up, the whole cavalcade. One of our narrators was there as well. And I thought it was going to be a little event. Were you surprised at how big it was?
It was massive.
It was like, when we got there early and there were like serried ranks of chairs. And I thought, oh, they're not going to fill this room. It was packed. So there would have been at least 100 people there.
And quite colourful too. You know, you think Parliament House, you think, blue suit brigade, but no, it was so vibrant.
Yeah, and it was the whole thing was orchestrated so well at the same time. So there are 100 authors. I'll just remind our people out there that were part of this short story competition. You had to be over 60, so it's an elders stories, and the theme this year was diversity, and it was a really diverse crew. And I thought, because everyone in the book, we've now narrated every story in the book, as well as the acknowledgements, and there's a beautiful speech by the minister. He gave a great speech, and of course we had the MC there, who was that fabulous woman, Jean Kitson.
She's so funny, hilarious.
And she was there herself, so-called as an elder. But what's an elder? Like somebody with a lot of experience, right?
And a good story to tell.
And good stories to tell.
Lots of stories.
And she's still doing film and just such a vibrant personality. And I think people really resonated with that. There was also the Senior Citizen of the Year.
Yeah, Abla Kadus.
Kadus, yes, Abla Kadus, who gave a really heartfelt speech because, as she said, she's not a natural speaker. But in fact, she has spoken very well.
She's certainly a doer, though. All the work that she's done for community and community cohesion and empowering women in particular.
Yeah.
Quite incredible, actually.
And also creating kind of, I don't know, what's a good way of putting it? A kind of passageways of communication and understanding between cultures, especially a culture that has been so much under the spotlight as the Muslim culture, of whatever denomination. And here it is. That is the hard copy of the book that is now so very close to being finished. So where are we up to?
We're about 80% there, aren't we?
More, I reckon, because the 100 stories have all been narrated by Lex Marinos and Janine Penfold in either male-sounding or female-sounding voice, according to what the author preferred. Now we're on to the in-language portion, which is, your part of the project. Yeah. So give us a bit of an update on how that's going.
Sticking along, we've had a few people narrate this week. We've had Urdu, we've had German, we've had Spanish, and it's gorgeous actually hearing the stories now through these other languages. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and how interesting for us, yesterday we had a person from Pakistan who is a great actor. I'm looking over here because I'm seeing, his theatre billboard. He was in a play recently called The Marriage Agency. And Ataf is such a great actor.
Incredible talent.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
he took this story and even in Urdu, which is, to me, sounded so melodic, as a language. And it was interesting to direct that story, having heard it in English, and seeing what he was doing to it in terms of impregnating it with, his understanding of the culture and the author's intent in that story. Yeah. So it was a great experience for all of us.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. So today we had Spanish, which was different in tempo, as you can imagine. Yeah. And over the next few days,
so I'm just comparing the Urdu to if you look at the audio, if you watch it, the waves compared to the Spanish, it's quite different.
You're absolutely right. And the German one again, very precise, very and Janine did a great job of that, and just sort of the heart that goes into it with the narrators. I think that was some of the conversations that we had with the authors that we met on the day of the launch was having, talking to Janine, who is the narrator, and talking to us who've been producing the book about how they felt about their story being sounded out. And one person this was the second year in a row that he had his story read out, and he was talking about David Trednick last year, who did his story, and he said everybody in his family listened to it, loved his voice, loved his rendition, and were in tears at the end of it. So that was just, there is something very moving about hearing your own story sort of spoken, and orated in that way. So that was a great opportunity.
It was lovely, and big thank you to all the authors who did write and put in a story, and getting to meet a lot of them.
From all over New South Wales.
It was really lovely to meet everyone.
Yeah, and of course the amazing Colleen Parker, who is the editor.
Yes.
5th year in a row that she's been the editor of this anthology and competition, and very smart woman. She lives in Port Macquarie. I'm having to have a meeting with her pretty soon because she runs writers groups throughout the state, and also writing workshops. And of course, we're associated with a writers group, the Inner West Writers Group here, that has about 580 members now. So joining forces so that, we're covering the field of what storytelling is all about, not just the audiobook production part of it. Met some fascinating characters.
Yeah, Colleen is incredible.
Oh, powerhouse.
Yeah.
Total powerhouse. And she says she's retired. I don't know what she's retired from or to, but it sort of seems like a very active life. Anyway, thank you so much to Clayton Smithwick, who's been the project manager on the government side for this work. And I've worked with him this is the third project we've worked together, 3rd year in a row that we've worked on this same project. And he's very efficient and very understanding. I don't know what it must be like on his end dealing with 100 authors, but he has been, our sparse communications, sparse by comparison, because I keep on thinking I'm bugging him all the time. Oh, we want this, we want that. Give us this. But just a joy to work with, really.
And a big thank you too to the Department of Communities and Justice for running this again, and for including in this year's audiobook the in-language component, where we do get to hear these stories in other languages.
Yeah, and I do have to come back to the Indigenous representative who was there to give a welcome to country, and in fact spoke so beautifully about the meaning of an elder in our community, and where they're the bosses in a community, and that wisdom that people hold that have lived through various epochs in their lives and are able to lend it back down, so that we're not all completely, I think, emotional disasters and conundrums and life experiences are the same in each generation, and people who've been through it can certainly lend something to all of us, and we also, that makes it our obligation as well. So it was beautiful.
It's been one of my favourite projects
so
far.
Yeah, because why has it been your favourite project?
I think the diversity of the stories.
Yeah.
Some are quite interior and personal, and some are more that, macro observation of society as a whole, but just looking at the different perspectives, but then looking at all the common themes between them, like that connection that exists. And I think, it's just been lovely.
And even between the cultures, because there were, 12 of the stories are being narrated in language other than English. And it's interesting. Clayton said that probably will continue into next year as well.
I hope so.
Yeah. Just to be able to, hear a story with that other flavour, and reaching other members of the community.
And certainly there are authors in the anthology who do speak languages other than English, but they've just selected English. But for them to also read these stories and hear these stories in languages other than English too, I think it's just, it's good to broaden it.
Well, I'm just thinking of say, if this had been in play when my grandmother was alive,
Yeah.
and my grandmother lived and worked in Australia as a Greek woman, looked after the kids while my mum went to work and all that sort of stuff. For her to be able to hear a story in Greek, in audio, would have been amazing. Yeah. Speaking of which, we have found a Greek person, Angelia from Wollongong, who's going to be doing the Greek story. Well, thanks everyone. We just wanted to share that bit of news and add it to our newsletter. And if you've got any questions, just send it to the links that are part of this newsletter, or just look up www.audiobooksradio.com.au.
Bye.
Bye.